now, like, dumbass iPhone, I don't get it. iPhone, for whatever reason, is letting calls through while you're on Do Not Disturb, and it knocks the microphone out, or maybe somebody reported, who knows. But hopefully it'll go back up. And I'll start trying to spread it. There it goes. I don't know what the hell is happening. It's just knocking me off all the time. I hope no one is reporting it, reporting the video. I wouldn't doubt it, but hopefully nobody's reporting it. But yeah, this is like the third time it's knocked the sound out. It's weird. Man, Steph, I don't know why it does that from time to time, you know. But yeah, like I have it on Do Not Disturb and all of that good stuff, and it's still not working. I'm gonna share it so everybody can catch back up. Well, the Steph, you know how they do though. They like that's why I haven't went live on Instagram. And the thing about the apps is, if someone just like keeps on reporting it, they're not going to investigate it. They'll just you know, knock it off. But like I tried to go live on Instagram a few times, and it was like the worst thing ever. You can't get anything out of it because, you know, the little haters, the all of the exotic people and all those people, they'll just go on there and they'll oh, much love, Brian. I was just going through those messages and I saw that you had hit me up. But, you know, oh, Steph, they keep you in jail. You know what I mean? They keep you in jail. Stephanie is the damn she's the damn queen of getting reported. Good Lord. That's why she got to keep on doing like multiple accounts. But yeah, they always do that. It's weird, like, that you have adults that you know, they do it, like, but you know, but y'all have heard that I cost people money. You know what I mean? It is what it is. The porn sites, man, they let the porn sites through. They let the porn sites through. I'm always getting the ad for damn you know, watch my new videos and shit. I'm like, damn, I have not watched not one video. You know what I'm saying? Not one little porno video. And they always are tagging me in their little videos. If you want to see better pictures. Or they'll always try to get me to join their fans only. I'm like, good Lord. I be thinking, hey, but you know, yeah, I think the Frenchie people are going to get mad here pretty soon because, I mean, but what's going on is twofold in the Frenchie community, for those that don't know. In a strange way, the Frenchie community has gotten attacked. And it's wild because the Frenchie community got attacked when the little dog just won the big show, you know. And they got attacked for breathing issues. Our good old friends at PETA, which I'm not starting no fights with them crazy ass people, but they were very, very upset that very, you know, and that was a very nice French bulldog. I forget his name, and I love the dog. I should remember his name. Winston was a bad boy. I am reaching out, you know what I mean? I'm finding Winston's owners, and well, I've actually found their owners, and you know, I'm trying to get them to be one of my first guests on the podcast, you know, to talk about Winston and to spread Winston in a positive light. And let's see. You know, I've got some good connections over in the AKC, and you know, strangely enough, when you talk crazy enough and you keep on preaching health and stuff like that, you make friends all over the world. You know, got friends in Germany now and all kind of places, South Africa. Wow, I never thought that that would be the case, but the thing of it is that it's a scary time for me, because if they will attack Winston, and like I say, PETA people don't play fair, you know what I mean? They will go to the furthest extremes to try to do whatever they can do to stop a breed, you know? We do understand, and I told y'all, I just recently, my my stepmother, which I say my mother, was looking for a French bulldog, but she didn't want to do the shipping thing, scared of the shipping, as she's read about, you know, Frenchie's having trouble breathing and stuff, so she didn't want to buy a dog and the dog die on the people and all of that stuff. So man, I can't wait, Steph. I can't wait. I love your dogs, you know, I've always told you that. But the problem with the problem is that this is what scares me about this situation, and I will not lie to you guys. I have not had the opportunity to talk to my good buddy who's got some pull and understands some things. But PETA generally doesn't talk and not create some kind of action. So to see them attack Winston, I know they're going to start looking around. And as y'all know, I talk in circles. As I was about to tell y'all, I went on a site that I use from time to time and looked up some dogs. It was a very amazing thing. I limited the dog area, right, to traveling distance for my stepmom could get this puppy for my nephew. And then I read through the results. You know, I did all my homework. I did reviews. I checked on the people, and it was pretty cool. And it oftentimes seems like that when you find somebody who's like a breeder, and you look at their dogs and they have nice dogs, and then like the lady's price, she only wanted, you know, for this little Frenchie that that they end up getting for my nephew. She actually picks it up Saturday, the day before Christmas. But they only wanted $2,800 for this little dog, and they were, you know, they were a small what do they say, hobby breeder. And it was on this one site, I had limited it to the Ohio region, right? I think 100 miles within Ohio or it was something crazy. But it was like 8,000 Frenchie puppies under a year old. And I'm messing up something, but it was, oh, I know the number was over 8,000. I'm messing up how I set the filter up, but I eliminated a lot of dogs. I put it, I know I put it at not even under a year old. I put it at 4 months, and it was still 8,000 puppies that were available, you know. And I'm like, how the fuck could it be 8,000 puppies available at this age, you know, on a breed that's not supposed to be a super popular breed? And I started looking through some of them, and some of them were just absolutely ridiculous. Some of them looked like they were ready for me to play the Arms of an Angel song. And of course, you had your Fluffies, and then you had your Merles, and then you had, you know, all these different variations. And oh my goodness, it was a very, very sad place. And what's going on, T? And I just could not believe what I was seeing, you know, by even with the putting the restrictions on there. So then going back to Winston and seeing, you know, that these people are already attacking him, and seeing the Frenchie community in the way it is, I will tell you that the Frenchie community is not far off of what the American bully community is, and pretty much it's because of what the American bully community is. The one thing that's so alarming about it is the heavy amount of Merles. This is crazy. Yeah, Fluffies. I've heard that the Fluffies are the healthiest because of, you know, the mix, but it's not a Frenchie. You know, it's more of a designer dog, and I wish they would just say that instead of calling it a Frenchie. But I've told y'all I've had experience with Merles. I lied the other day because I said I never had a Merle, and then I thought about it. I did. I had a girl who was like a reddish Merle color. Never did anything with her, and that was an Alapaha. That was not an American bully. And I had I had a male who was a Merle carrier, but he turned out to be all white, and literally, I think it was 3 of his litter mates were deaf, and one of them was blind. And I'm just saying this because when you breed recklessly like this, at some point in time, there's going to be a repercussion. There's going to be a point in time where you have to answer for this. You have a lot of hobby breeders, a lot of money chasers who are breeding these heavy genes of Merles and different things like that. And exactly, you know what I'm saying? The Alapaha comes from the Catahoula. That's why. But I seen it in our breed at that time, which was my breed, the Alapaha, is that when people really, really start going for the Merle gene, it wasn't initially. Initially, you had some beautiful dogs, and they were very, very nice. No health issues at all. As a matter of fact, the actor Ving Rhames, he had several of them that he had got from Cattle Rustler Kennels, also the home of Dax's real dad. But we'll go into that another day. But but what happened down the line in the process, and we're just going to address the Merle, is that the more that people went for Merles, even in the Alapaha, we started to see some, what's going on, Pharaoh? We started to see some issues. And like I told y'all, it got to a point where I was a part of a very small group as far as a breed club. It was only like a dozen of us. We had a lady who was a German Shepherd breeder over in Pennsylvania. We had several dogs, that were very, very nice dogs. And we tried to do things the right way, but the main guy who had it, he was a money chaser. Let's not be whatever. He sold a lot of dogs in Hollywood, as I told y'all. Ving Rhames and some other actors were buying them. And of course, they started to see the crystal blue eyes. They started to see the Merle coats, and they fell in love with them. And he pushed further and further and further, to try to get them. The problem is as those Merles, as he pushed further and further to get these Merle dogs, they had issues. And even if I told y'all about this, and maybe I'll get her on, we still family. But my cousin's ex, she took our dog, which was Diesel, and he was all white, a beautiful, beautiful, incredibly beautiful dog. I mean, just imagine a solid white dog with those blue eyes like an Alaskan Husky, with literally a 27-inch head and wide chest. He was a beautiful bulldog, but he had problems. He had neurological problems, but more so, what he had was he had he was a psychopath. He would have these fits of rage, and I still to this day don't know how she dealt with him. She would love that dog so much she put him on medication. But Rhonda's a very pretty woman. Reminds me of a little Halle Berry. And it made me feel so bad because I gave them the dog, right? And they wanted the dog so badly. And one day, just sitting there, the dog lunged up and bit her in the face. Actually gave her a scar, like right here. And she pinned him down, and you know what I mean. And she got him, and he calmed down. But he had never acted like that. He was always a lap dog on her. You know what I mean? Yeah, the Lapahas are super watered down now because everybody started breeding for color. Everybody started breeding for designer dogs instead of what the purpose of the Alapaha was, which is, a hog catching dog, a protection dog. But throughout time, he had several of these moments where he would attack sporadically, and they literally, I'm not doing this shit. But she went through it. She took the dog to all of these places, you know what I mean? Got him on, I don't know if it was some doggy Prozac or some shit like that. But he ended up living like 13, 14 years. But what was more alarming is when we started hearing about some of the other siblings that came from these dogs. Like I told you, 3 of them were born deaf or blind, and in 2 cases, I think both. And then the other couple that made it out of the jungle, they all had different problems. They either had heavy amount of seizures, that was the one female, and then the other one, you know what I mean, was just like the dog we had. They ended up putting him down. He just became like for no reason, very, very aggressive, you know, and it would be spontaneous aggression. It wouldn't like, it's one thing for a dog to be aggressive and you know the dog is aggressive all the time, but it's the difference that a dog, you know, to go from the dog that'll roll over on his stomach and let everybody pet him, then the next second he lunges up and snatches somebody's arm. You know, these were the issues, but as we looked around more and more, and this was one of the reasons why we decided to stay away from the Merle gene, everybody seemed to start having problems around the fourth generation of these dogs. Could not figure out why and what was going on, but these, you know what I mean? Exactly, Steph. That's what they start talking about, the heavy coloring and not breaking that gene up. It was causing some serious issues. The seizures were probably the saddest things that we have seen. Well, coming into now, and I think I told you guys about this, I was at the veterinarian, and this veterinarian is mostly known for doing ears. And I built a good relationship with him because I go out there a lot of times, you know, they see me. And my goodness, I seen a lady bring in and said, if y'all heard this story before, forgive me, but it is relevant. I seen a lady come in with two dogs. I couldn't tell if they were exotics or if they were Frenchies. You know, we will find out once the ears are done. And then I seen another one come in with another dog, and they all had that same, like the silver Merle pattern. And she had a dog that looked like them, but they were no relation. So come to find out, I didn't see good, but two of the Frenchies, the two were Frenchies, and they were there to get cherry eyes done, I do believe. And the lady was literally asking the veterinarian, is it okay to do the surgery? And he was like, well, why you say is it okay to do the surgery? And she was like, the dog, they have seizures. He's like, oh, okay. Well, why, you know, he said, how are these seizures? And how often are these seizures? And these were two younger dogs, you know what I mean? Under a year old. And they had already, she said they were getting more frequent, but they had already gotten to the point that they were having seizures basically on an everyday basis. They would have some, yeah, they would have some kind of seizure. And it was speeding up, you know what I mean? And the vet told her, like, you know, he basically said what you said, Steph. He was like, you know, you could do the surgery, but there's a high probability that the dog might not make it off of this thing. And he told her, you know, it's a high probability that these dogs won't make it for very long, you know? He's like, it's just that simple. He's like, I don't want to give you false hope or anything of that nature. He said you might want to go to a specialist and see if it's some kind of medicine that you could put these dogs on or whatever to stop the epilepsy. But depending on what the root cause of the epilepsy is, that might be harder to prescribe. Now, then the next dog, which turned out to be an exotic because it was there to get its ears done, looked like the other dogs, exact same problem. The dog has seizures. Now, it's young enough to get his ears done, so you know it was a younger dog. And the vet told them the same thing. Like, look, this dog might not make it off the table. So this is, keep in mind, this is a veterinarian that does thousands of ears a year. Literally, it's on his wall that last year we did over 4,000 dogs ears last year. And they have people who drive in from different states, and he's a big deal. Well, after leaving, you know, and getting a chance to talk to one of the nurses, they were just saying, you know, it's sad because this is happening more and more. The dogs that are coming in with Merle patterns, it seems to be seizure issues. They're finding out that some of the dogs have vision problems, hearing problems. They seem to be a little bit more aloof. And it's making sense if I go back to previous experience, that right now, because they want this Merle pattern so badly, they have pretty much been breeding heavy Merle now for a couple generations. They're moving towards the dead zone. They're moving towards the zone to where they're struggling to keep the color on their dogs, and pretty soon the dogs will go white. But the issues are starting to become more and more. Those seizures are a major issue. That dog is not going to be able to have a good quality of life. Now, if you are one of these people, and I don't recommend buying a Merle puppy, but if you are one of the people who just have to have you a Merle, you should definitely, before purchasing this dog, have it examined by your own veterinarian and get the hearing checked, get the vision checked, have them do certain neurological tests. I know one puppy in particular that his eyes weren't dilating and his eyes weren't following. You know, it's something that is happening, and we talk about this because I understand they're cute. I would be lying to y'all if I didn't tell y'all they was cute. Them was something. Well, not that shit that Kendrick Perkins was putting up. Not the ball sack, not the ball sack Frenchie. We not gonna do that. But yeah, a lot of the other dogs are very, very cute. You know, they're cuddly. You want to see them. I tell you, damn, I forget those people, but it's somebody in the XL world, popular kennel. They have some very good looking Merles, but the look does not excuse the issues that come with it. And I think a lot of times people forget that when we get to talking about this thing, we're talking about the health. Damn, how could I forget the kidney? The kidney failure is terrible. And Steph, I've seen that some of them are having issues with not just the kidneys but the stomachs, the whole entire stomach. You know, having stomach issues, what could be described as stomach cancer. The stomach's failing to operate properly, and they're not getting proper bowel movements. It's a lot of little things that I've seen, but I haven't seen them prevalently enough to say, okay, this is just a downright symptom, but they're not healthy. They're falling apart. A lot of them will have these bug-eyed looks. A lot of them are losing mass. A lot of them, it's just, at some point in time, we have to learn that we have to breed better, And going to the actual Frenchie, the Frenchie has a standard. The way that you look at Winston is pretty much the perfect Frenchie. Like, it's not something that, like, not for me. Maybe a real heavy duty Frenchie person can look at that and say, hey, this is what I would change about Winston, or that's what I would change about Winston. But at the end of the day, like, from I've judged Frenchies, several times. I've judged under somebody, and it's just, that prolapse eyeball. That's what the Sam's dog that they had posted had. He had 2 prolapse eyeballs. The eyeballs was just like, boop. That was disgusting. But, these are all issues that come from bad breeding. It's not like somebody is doing something to somebody. Doing something to these dogs other than putting together bad breedings that allow their genetics to do this. A lot of the French Bulldogs are gigantic. And I want to explain that because I've seen a debate. When you see an extreme French Bulldog, that's not correct. But a real French Bulldog can grow past the 30 pounds. You know what I mean? A real French Bulldog can outgrow the 30 pounds. It's something that happens in the breed from time to time. It's to where, it'll outgrow it. That's why they set a weight limit, because the weight limit is basically helps you navigate. If you wanna show dogs, it helps you navigate how to breed your dogs to stay small to be accepted in the AKC. But one thing I did want to get out the way is that a lot of people act like the Frenchie can't grow up to 35, 36, 37 pounds. They can. It's just like any other breed where they'll grow past the standard, And it's our job that if we are going to judge them the way that they're supposed to be judged, and have the ability for the dogs to go from the TBKC to the AKC or wherever else and be judged the same, you have to stick to that. You have to stick to that size thing. You have to. It's just that simple. See, and that's it, Steph. As long as you have the eye to recognize what you're doing and what you're trying to breed, it all works out. But the changes that we're seeing in these French Bulldogs is amazing. I posted one not too long ago, and he looked like a little bodybuilder, man. Dude was loaded with muscle. Now they kicked my ass on that post, and some people kicked their ass, so it was a good post back and forth. Because oftentimes when you say something is not correct, they take it as a shot at the dog and saying that the dog is not a good dog. The dog is very much so a cute little dog, and they say he breathes through his nose. He's got all the muscles popping around, but it's not a Frenchie. It's the same thing as another breed that I said I was going to talk about here is the Rottie. The Rottie rules is, 130 pounds. You generally want your Rotties around 130 pounds. I think 27 inches is the top of the height that you want. And you'll have Rotties to go far past that. It doesn't make them bad dogs. It just doesn't make them qualifiable as a show dog. And it's a reason that the show dogs are meant to continue on the standard. And this is one of the reasons why you have to follow that oh God, that muscle tone the muscle tone French bulldog. But the reason why we definitely want to always make sure that we stick to these standards is because if we start to change things, as I've told y'all, just like the American Bully, you are starting to see in the Frenchie community that they are literally turning into exotics. Not only is it alarming to me that this whole big rope thing that they're doing, over the muzzle and different things like that, it's ugly, but at the same time, it seems like I've noticed a pattern, is that the dogs who have the gigantic rope typically have bad feet, or they have an elbow issue. It's some other issue that comes along with having the gigantic rope. And that's just because you're trying to play with genetics. You're trying to play God. You're trying to do some things that you're not supposed to be doing, and you push it too far. And you can't account for every genetic sequence as you try to pinpoint one feature on the dog. This is why they'll always tell you that it's much, much easier for you to breed an overall healthy dog than it is for you to make your own dog. Making your own dog is hard work. Making your own dog is serious hard work, and it comes with a lot of failures. Right now, it's going to be an amazing cleanup job with the French Bulldogs, and I have a funny feeling that we're going to kick a lot of French Bulldogs out of the ring, and we're going to have to kick a lot of Rotties out of the ring. The Rotties, some of the problems that we're seeing with them is the overly done chest. They're making extreme Rotties now. Overly done chest. You see them with that weird forehead. A lot of the timid tour dogs have that weird forehead to where it almost looks like a pug Rottie. And you've got people who are adopting this, and you've got other Rottweiler enthusiasts that are absolutely pissed about it because they feel like that they're changing the breed. Yeah, there are more health issues with the smaller breeds, you know what I mean? And I think that there are more health issues with the smaller breeds in general. A lot of it's because it's the dwarfism that is coming to the breed, and you've seen people mix in certain dogs with the breed on the lower end that would bring some issues, some breathing issues, and multiple different things that would cause the breed to sort of fall off. So this is one of the reasons why I do believe that we're seeing more issues with what's going on, Brandon Blue. But you know what I mean, we are seeing more and more issues. Dwarfism is a serious issue. I have a very nice old school dog that I want to breed in the future, and one of the things that I had to take into consideration was that dwarfism trait, and how hard would it run, and would it bring forth those traits heavy if I took him to a very, very small bitch that has a lot of the same qualities that he has. How good is the genes? And I'm telling you, the lower we get as far as the science part of it, we're going to see more complications. This is one of the reasons why I'm pushing health testing, and this is one of the reasons why I'm pushing that we have to start following the standard. The standard will keep us where we need to be. The longer that we go outside of the standard, you're going to start to bring in far too many variables, and those variables could all end up making the breed crash. I think honestly we have far too many hobby breeders. Yeah, Steph, I don't think most people really know how to breed in general. So when you talk about an outcross, a lot of times the outcross is going to be a thing that's of the past to most of them. You know what I mean? You know, I've seen people line breed so heavy that it's absolutely ridiculous. You'll see one dog in a pedigree, you know what I mean, right? Like right bunched together like 7 or 8 times. I mean, now you could have a dog in a pedigree 7 or 8 times, but it at least needs to be going back towards the end of the pedigree and mixed around, and you see that there is an outcross here or there being done before you went back to this breed. But far too many people now, man, they just go hard. They go hard. Mother to son, you know what I'm saying? Take one off of that, breed that back to the mother. You know, breed that shit is not a great way to breed, you know. You know, here come Blue Mountains, go blue again. I hope we meet them in the national championship so bad, man. OH. But you know, it's a discipline. Breeding is truly a discipline. And I made this live to talk more about the Frenchie, because one of the biggest things is that the Frenchie, most people don't know it. If any of our judges, for instance, look at your Frenchie and they're like, he's borderline too heavy, right? We do have a scale there. And if your dog comes in overweight, you know, over the weight limit for what a French Bulldog breed is, that's one of the rare breeds that can be weighed in, then you're an automatic DQ. Yeah, we damn sure don't want to blow out again. We want to whoop your ass. Yeah, I mean, everything is like hitting the reset button, and I have a funny feeling that we are going to meet a lot of pushback as we pick the more standardized French Bulldogs in the ring, and as we dismiss a lot of the Rotties. If your Rottie comes in there and he's disproportionate and he's wide in the front legs, any of those things, we have to go ahead and get it up out of there. You know, we have to get it up out of there. You know, I myself have a Doberman that's like 130 something pounds. He couldn't get in the show ring, and he's my dog. You know, we have to follow a certain stance, a certain etiquette about the show ring, and it's a difference between your personal values and what you like and what should be in the show ring. You know, like I said, I like the big dogs because I feel like that they do better on the protection side. But at the end of the day, you have to follow the standard, man. You have to follow the standard. You know, yeah, 170-pound Rottweiler looks impressive. You know, big ass head looks impressive. I've seen some. I produced some before. It's not to the standard. It's not hating on the dog. It's not hating on anyone who brought the dog in there. It's just a fact that we can't have this dog in the ring at 180 pounds when the standard limit says 130. Okay. Yeah, he's a warlock. Very big boy. Well, honestly, the move going forward is this. The move going forward is just quite simply to put ourselves in a situation where we follow rules and regulations. Everything else will clean its way up. You know what I mean? Go back to being dog men and dog women. You know what I mean? Pharaoh, I ain't messing with you, man. I ain't messing with you. There is no weight limit on bullies. But weight limits are only for certain breeds. I knew you mistyped that, and that's why I was laughing, because it said shoes. But weight limits are for certain breeds, and then the other breeds, the judges are basically just characterizing this breed with their eyes, and it still has to fit the standard in their head. Now, the bully has to deal with height limits, you know. Yeah, the bully has to deal with height limits. Now, where you would say a weight limit in the bully world that is not actually a weight limit is that if we perceive your dog to be too heavy, the dog can actually be dismissed. My judges also, and we're going to push this heavy, is that if your dog is having any breathing issues, your dog needs to be dismissed from the ring. So yeah, if your dog is in there wheezing and going crazy, and you know what I mean, and looks like he's on the last step before heaven's gates, we will not be dealing with him in that ring. We can't afford to deal with him, because if we go that route, we're promoting unhealthy dogs. It's not even about him getting a ribbon or whatever. We would just rather pull somebody to the side and say, look, that's not going to work here. Let me see. I'm trying to read all these messages. Yeah, Steph, I was about to get to that. Now, in the TBKC, you have the home of all these other dogs. And I'm missing some of y'all messages. I do apologize. But you have the Frenchie Bull class. And it sounds a lot like the French Bulldog. It is a lot like the French Bulldog. But this class was created for all of the designer dogs and all of the dogs who don't fit that class, and it's specifically to protect the French Bulldog, but also to not alienate those breeders and people. Like, it's a whole new world of French Bulldog. It's actually a lot, like I say, between the American Bully and the Extreme Bully. It's two different breeds. So now when you go into the Frenchie Bull class, if your dog is a certain size or whatever the case may be, a little bit too big, that's the class for you. If you start talking about certain colors and color patterns that are not allowed or preferred with the French Bulldog, you can go to the Frenchie Bull class. In that class, we still will be very, very, very hard on judging, but what we will try to do is work with what we have and narrow it down and clean it up to the point to where even those dogs are good. So just because we say we have that class for the bigger Frenchies and things of that nature does not mean we allow everything in that class. If your dog comes in there with a giant rope, he's probably not going to make it, just that simple. If your dog comes in with a color pattern or something that we don't approve of, he won't make it. We have to tighten down the reins in every facet of this game to make sure that the dogs are healthy, and that we're actually doing, with the Frenchie Bull, that's the creation of a breed. It's going to take years of proper picking and letting the community know exactly what it is that we're looking for to get to where we need to be. The English Bulldog is no difference, and it's another class for the English Bulldog. But I was in Mexico judging, and it was amazing because of the language situation. Man, I didn't understand that this one particular dog, like the way they handed me the ribbons and stuff, I was trying to give this Bulldog like third place. I ended up giving the Bulldog a win. This one English Bulldog, if I tell y'all the truth, this dog had to be 80 plus pounds. And I was not trying to give him, but when I did it, they immediately knew I messed up, but we couldn't take it back. You know what I mean? It was like the worst day in the history of my judging career, because I'm like, come on, man. Because what they were doing is, and y'all, so y'all can understand the mistake I made, what they were doing is they were handing out the ribbons the opposite way. A lot of times when we judge, we do third place, second place, and once the person got the second place ribbon, if it's narrowed down like that, who won first. Well, there they give out the first place ribbon. So I thought I was pretty much, going over there, I was gonna hand him his third place ribbon. Up. But seeing the dog, it brought something to light, that this dog was very unhealthy. He didn't have the ability to stand for very long. Bulldogs are already not known for having the tightest feet, and his feet were splayed dramatically. They were in bad shape, and I really felt bad, not only just about the mistake that I made, but also for the dog, because the dog didn't deserve that. Let's just put it that way. The dog didn't deserve to be that overweight, that unhealthy, and looking like he was close to death. These are all issues that we're going to have to deal with in the TBKC. We're going to also have to deal with, people wanting to make all of these colors. Because believe it or not, some colors that we see on a regular basis with the Frenchies are not supposed to be there. Yep, some of the colors we see are not supposed to be there. And we're going to have to address those things. We really want to tighten down on the reins and get rid of as many dogs as we can, so as the great Dave Wilson says, we can have a stud book. But our stud book will be very, very organic. You know what I mean? Whereas we bringing in good dogs, and I want to promote them. Y'all see, like, and I'm not capping or anything like that. And y'all please hit like and subscribe and all that stuff. But y'all see when this podcast open, when the TBKC site is up, man, I poured a lot into this thing. I poured so much. Like, if you just see the plans, excuse me, I'm spitting all over the place. Damn coffee. But if you just see the plans, y'all are really going to enjoy the TBKC experience, you know. And I'm just thanking God, like I say, this morning, man, I was literally brought to tears because I just felt it, you know. I feel it, you know. I just feel everything going right. I feel it all coming together. And it's just such a huge blessing to be here. But it's going to be a great experience because the educational experience is going to be amazing. You know, y'all are going to really, really love the interviews. In the interview process, like I got American Bully legends, I got some Roddy legends, I got, you know, I'm working on a couple people from the French Bulldog world, as I've just told you, got excellent people from the South African Boerboel world, and I've got several veterinarians who are going to sit down and give me their time, you know. And y'all know how veterinarians is, they don't have a lot of time, you know what I mean? Their days off are, you know, precious to them because they're in there 6 days a week most times, and pretty pressure filled. So to get some veterinarians that said, hey T, I'll jump on with you, and I told them, just give me 15 minutes, let me ask you some questions for 15 minutes. But I just want them to, you know, not only to promote their facilities, but also to get questions and get you know, get some answers. What heavy Dax dog died this week? I don't know. I've been staying away from them people. They said they was gonna destroy me. How's that going? But I think our medical information is going to be so important. And that's one of the things why I'm against the whole heavy rope thing, because I don't know if y'all know, if you don't know what nares are basically the nostrils. The nostrils need to be open. You want your dog to have a big wide nose like mine. Plenty of air, you know. And the more that people do this thing with the rope, and Steph, I can't wait till we get on. You know what I mean? I can't wait till we get on, because Steph has a lot of information and she'll have y'all dying, because she's going to drop like 32 F-bombs, at least 32, and I love it. You know what I mean? But I really do. But I want knowledge in this game. I want so many of you to get as much knowledge as possible, you know, about, and I'm talking about internal knowledge. I'm talking about the differences and why we're seeing some of the issues with the cardiovascular problems. It starts with the nares. This is one of the reasons why a lot of dogs do open their mouth. They might not have the palate issue, but if their nares are closed, they have to breathe through their mouth. But there's a huge problem with that. A humongous problem with that. The humongous problem with that is that the way a dog's system is built, right? And is that going through the muzzle, the air going through the muzzle is a cooling system. It's a cooling system to stop from hot air or very, very warm air to get into the lungs. This is one of the reasons why all the shorter muzzle breeds have more breathing problems. And as we do this, I want you guys to understand, I don't have, you know, a dog in this race. I don't have a Frenchie. You know what I mean? I seriously, and I mean this, and excuse me, I had to put my little lipstick on. But I seriously don't have like a preference when you start talking about whether it's my dog or whether it's whose dog, or no. I've seen Oscar's dogs that look better than my dogs, you know what I mean? I've seen Pratt's dogs that look better than my dogs. I've seen, you know, we could all go back and forth. We've all beaten each other at times. We've all used each other's dogs at times. You know, I've seen Gotti line dogs that I absolutely was in love with. Like I said, I've seen some XLs, and I'm not even an XL person, that I was absolutely in love with. I see those dogs, I'm like, damn, that's a badass dog. But the key for us to actually bring this community together and to do this right and to start being taken seriously is understanding rules and also educating ourselves to the point that we understand conformation and we understand health. I think especially when you guys, some of you seen the little interview, but when you see the thing with Bashar on there, and not to bring him up too much, But the lies that he was telling about mass over health, you know what I mean? And I sorry I missed that one, Steph. But it's well that y'all can read her information because she's going to give y'all good information. But it's you can't put mass over health or the dog dies. You can't put mass over confirmation because, as I've explained to y'all many times, it's a reason why the confirmation of a dog is written the way it's supposed to be written. The confirmation of a dog, and especially for anyone who's new to this page, and generally these videos, thousands of people end up watching them. But the reason why confirmation is so important, confirmation is actually written off of health. Of course, the reason why you want straight fronts is so that everything is working properly. If the fronts are straight, all of the weight is displaced in a proper motion and in a proper fashion. Excuse me. If the legs in the back are properly in place, the stress points are not receiving more stress than they're supposed to. Like I say, it's all a working system. If the knee is stiff and is not able to do what it's supposed to do, the hip suffers. You know what I mean? The hip suffers. If same thing. If the hip is locking up, it stresses the knee and it stresses the ankle. It stresses the foot. All of this works together. Like any of you who go to the thank you. It does cool the brain as well. I'm key 4. Thank you, because I'm gonna miss some points. Y'all know I get to rambling, drinking this coffee, thinking about getting me some yak. And y'all hit like. I'm pretty sure most of y'all subscribe. Thank y'all for being here. That's all I can say. But all of these things go together. Oh, that's definitely why we have so many tears in the knees, and that's a super big issue of the tears in the knees because it's bad displacement. It's bad displacement. I go to the chiropractor, and it's strange because I've been to the chiropractor so much, especially after the spinal injury, that I know how to do a lot of what the chiropractor does. I don't mess with my neck, so I'll go back to them. You know what I mean? Steph, don't tell them too much. Big heart issues for real when you got so much mass. But just getting my body aligned, and I'm gonna speak on me, not a dog. But I'll give you an example of something that I recently was suffering from. Of course, a car accident will throw your body out of whack a million different ways. So I really started noticing these things. I started noticing, right, for whatever reason, it was my right foot. It was like aching, like terribly aching, but it was like, I guess the muscle that you were saying, the heel, it wasn't the plantar fasciitis, which is the arch. It was the heel. And I was like, why the hell does my foot just keep aching, So I changed my shoes, and I started wearing a different set of shoes for support because I've never had foot problems, thank God. So I did get it to go away, but guess what? Next thing you know, I start having this pain going up my the same leg, but my thigh. I'm like, what in the hell is going on here? So then I think simultaneously, when I went on the last trip to take the cats and the dogs up there, I did like sort of bang my hip on the van, and my hip was sore. But then, now that was the actual hip, but the muscle in front of the hip start aching. So I start calling, I had to call the chiropractor. I'm like, dude, this pain is running everywhere. And he was like, yeah, just come in and get readjusted. Let me go ahead and see how aligned you are. He was like, because if anything is off alignment, the other, even he said, even if it's not a joint, it could be a muscle, but that your muscles will start to adjust to wherever you're receiving pain at or discomfort to carry more of a load. But that load is an overload, and especially me not being the lightest person in the world at about 230, and I do a lot of stuff. I do like I told y'all, the jiu-jitsu and the running, and today is leg day. I'll be in there with 1,000,000 pounds on the leg press and all of that stuff. It takes an effect on the body. This is very, very much so what your dogs go through. This is why it's so important. if you know, like we think of it like, okay, it's just an elbow. When you think of those elbows, right? Exactly, Tone. They compensate big time. And when you think of the elbows, the feet start to compensate. Now, if it's the ankle, yeah, Steph, your man is a grizzly bear, and we all have to do it, Steph. You see, I'm down from close to 250 to right now. I'm not even 230. I'm probably in the mid 225, 226. I'm getting as lean as possible because I just can't carry that mass no more. Back hurts, this hurts, that hurts. You know what I mean? It's not worth it. And to see them put this type of mass on a dog. Now, me and the big guy, we're talking about. Yeah, Steph, see what I mean? We're talking about just us as guys, and we actually have decent structure. You know what I mean? You know, we're not somebody who, oh, I'm bow-legged and my knees is this and no. We have great structure, but like you say, your body starts to let you know it's time. So think about what you're doing, right, with some of what we see with, like, say, for instance, you know, any of these extreme dogs. I'm not going to name a kennel. But whether it's an extreme Frenchie, which I'm starting to see now, or whether it's an extreme Rottweiler, which good Lord, we're starting to see that now. Think about the idea of putting a ton of mass in the front end of the dog, right? Ton of mass. And then you turn around and now you're gonna, excuse me, I was bouncing around a little bit. Let me grab a napkin. Good thing I had my hand over it. I splashed this little drink everywhere, but it's all over my hand, which is a good thing. But, you know, think about that type of mass, and now you're putting it on a weakened joint. Because if the legs are bowed, the joints are weakened. You know what I mean? The structure is compromised. The ligaments are now stretching in a fashion that they are not doing. The joint is offset. And for those of you who are trying to learn a little bit of something with this, what I'm talking about by the joint being offset is that joints usually work like this. So as you see, and trust me, I'm talking about my fist, not how my wrist is turned. But see, this is good. It's very, very solid. It doesn't matter if I push down or if I push up, it stays together. When the joint becomes offset, say like this, now as I push, as you see what's happening, it starts to turn in a natural position. You want to walk like this. You don't want to do that. So as that pressure gets there, now it's more on the ligaments that hold that joint together to hold the joint together. What happens is that the ligaments were never meant to hold that much pressure. They're solid. They can hold some pressure, but they were never meant to hold that much pressure. It's inevitable that with the pressure from the weight and the mass, that the dog, especially if the dog tries to run, because no matter how we look at it, these dogs are very powerful because of the mass that they have. It's bound to tear that ligament. Now think about this, and I'm going to just take you through the whole process. Once that ligament is torn, most people don't have the surgery because the surgery is roughly about $2,500 up to $4,500 to $5,000, depending on your vet and, you know, the circumstances of how much damage is done there. Most of it's a CCL tear. So most of people decide to go the route of limiting the dog's activity and letting the dog try to heal naturally, which it will. If it's not a complete tear, it'll heal naturally, but it'll never be the same. And a lot of times what happens is the dog compensates for that by walking very, very straight-legged. And that'll stop, you know what I mean? The added pressure is starting to compensate, but the added pressure transfers to the hip. The added pressure transfers to the paw and the pasterns. You're going to start to see more and more issues with this dog. You know what I mean? You're going to start to see more and more issues to this dog. It's like an avalanche. It starts with a little snowball. Next thing you know, boom, everything is falling apart. And this is why I oftentimes, yeah, Floyd, hey, love you, brother, man. You better be doing what you're supposed to be doing over there. I'm staying on your ass. Take care of yourself, man. We need you. But you know, it's all, you know what I mean? And yeah, and they're not even working dogs, and it's all so tied together in such a beautiful fashion when we, you know, when once again we give praise to God for being, you know what I'm saying, the greatest architect of all time. What's going on, Tremel? But the thing is that we have to understand that this is why us as breeders, we have to be on point with everything that we're doing as far as putting these dogs together. Everything that we're doing as far as even down to the smallest details. You want females that can give better natural births, stop making females with very, very narrow asses. If you making females with very, very narrow asses, then that means the pelvic opening is very, very small. But yet and still, you want to make a very, very big fronted dog with a big head. So how do you think it's going to get out of a narrow pelvic opening? It doesn't make sense. Also, if you want a female that can give a natural birth, put together a female that is actually has the ability to have a great cardiovascular system. Shout out to all of you ladies, and I will say this a million times over: you are the greatest thing that has ever graced Earth, because any woman that has ever given birth, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it, but the body goes through a ton of stress, and it definitely helps to be able to have oxygen in your lungs. You know, I have a friend of mine that's an OBGYN, and that's one of the things that she always tells every woman that she has coming in to have a baby, is that please get yourself in the best condition that you can during your pregnancy. Stay walking, stay active, because if you plan on pushing these babies out, it's going to be a battle. And the last thing you want to do is be out of shape on this table, because it's going to make your labor more difficult. This is the same thing with animals. You want every part of this is very, very scientific. If you change these things to the animals, you are affecting the whole animal. You can't change anything about the way these dogs are supposed to be built. So what I will tell you, and eventually I'll have the sketches made, and there are some very good sketches out there, but whenever you're doing your breedings, and thanks for the love, Pope, but whenever you're doing your breedings, think of it like an architect, you know. And I, for one, am into that. I want to get more and more into real estate, so I love to see the process. I've been checking out a few still no sound. Oh gosh, technology. All right, well, I guess I have to start all over. Oh, it's good now? Okay. Okay. Well, I don't know what the hell. Like, I see this thing flash. I don't know if it's a report, if it's the phone. I cut everything off. You know what I'm saying? But maybe, you know, I don't know. But it's something on there that's sort of crazy on this thing. And you can see it, Mike. I don't think it was you. I think, like, you can tell when people are trying to report the video, because you'll keep seeing this thing, like the screen starts jumping, you know. And I noticed that last time, like every time it's a weird thing on there. I don't know if it's YouTube trying to do something, but a couple times it'll just go black, like they be like, you're done, and it'll go to the end. But sometimes it does that, but hopefully they're not reporting this damn video. But I tell you what, you know, like we have to yeah, they've been getting me. You get a file when people report you. I got reported over 100 times last month. I'm surprised it wasn't more. I was going for 300. But you want to think of you building your dog as like an architect. And what I mean by that is you want to build the skeletal frame first. Everything starts with the skeletal frame. You know what I mean? Appreciate that, Floyd. Yes, please hit like. It helps the algorithm. It helps the video keep going, and they don't think that we're a bunch of robots. I've never had robots, but they say somehow you can pay, and it makes your video jumping and all that. I'm not paying nobody for nothing. Shit, I don't even get paid for the video. The sound is gone again. Hopefully it kicks back in. Did the sound cut back in again? But yeah. Okay. So this is the thing, like, and I'll tell y'all this over and over again. And I seen this on well, not seen this, but I was actually in class, and I learned a lot about a lot of things in class, let me say that. And you know what I'm saying? If we don't control the skeletal part of the dog, everything else is bound to fail. It always has to fail. You know what I mean? It always, I'm glad you're back, Steph. It always has to fail. And this is one of the reasons why, and I'm not being smart when I say the word, I'm not being an asshole, let's just say that. When I use the word of ignorance, you know, when I put up certain videos and I put up certain things, I hear people be like, oh, you know, this dog was one of the greatest, or this dog is great, or you just hating. And I start to really believe that they don't understand, you know, confirmation, and they don't understand why the dogs have to be built this way. And it's not a thing of my preference. You know what I mean? It's not a thing of my preference. My preference isn't to have the dog look like a bulldog of any sorts. But as many of you have seen, I will give the utmost credit to someone who makes an extreme looking dog, like the dog Zero. I seen Zero in the ring, the videos I seen of him, and he wasn't a bad dog at all the way he's put together. You know what I mean? Yeah, I could nitpick and do some things and say, okay, we could fix this, we could fix that. But he's an extreme dog. You know, he falls into their extreme thing, and they love him. And what was the dog that won last year? I forget his name, but the dog that has the Miyagi blood. But I watched him, and he's got slightly high rear, and he's got some little things, but he's not a bad dog. I'm not hating on the dog itself. You know what I mean? It's strictly about Blue. Yeah, Blue. It's strictly about breaking the dog down. You know, if I'm going to do it to my dogs, I'm sure the hell going to do it to your dogs. You know, we're going to do it to everything in the ring. And the thing of it is that we have to remember our ultimate objective, you know, and I'll take this time to plug a show that I'm going to work on. But our ultimate objective is to have the, you know, the invitational. And the invitational for the TBKC will be a show where I do invite dogs who typically would not be at our shows. You know, you might see a nice standard poodle. You might see a very nice German Shepherd, a very nice Rottweiler. And although it's a fun show in many ways, it's a great service to us, because we want to have our dogs go in the ring and have a realistic chance of winning and competing with these dogs on a consistent basis. You know, these are breeds that I'm going to work very hard to keep in our registry. But the reason that the reason that we want them there, and the reason that we want to compete against them, is that the real show dogs in other breeds are incredible examples. You know what I mean? BH Bullies, what's going on? And I'm missing some of y'all messages. But ultimately, we want to do better. I don't know about y'all, and that's going to be the difference with this whole TBKC thing compared to you know, what we've seen in the past. Is that, I'm not going to lie to y'all, our goal is to be more like the AKC. I want to see our dogs. Okay, shit, Steph, you ain't said nothing but a word. And that's what I want. I want our dogs to be able to go in there and compete at a high level against the best breeds in the world. Not just, you know what I mean, be in a situation that that being a situation that you know what I mean, gets us, because competing against trash, and I say that nicely, you're never going to be anything but the king of trash. You know what I mean? Oh, we just figuring it out, Brian. We coming. Trust me, we coming. It's way too we way too far down the road now to turn back. So we coming. You know, these shows will be getting announced here. We're trying to jump the first shows in on March and April. So, it's just I just need one more confirmation before I do anything. But we need to. I think what's gonna happen is that a lot of us have always talked about competing in the AKC. Literally, that's 25 years away from now. And what I mean by that is that we have to establish the breed. And this is one of the biggest things that the ABKC has hurt everybody on. What's going on, my brother Ryan Campbell? One of the biggest things that that the ABKC has hurt us on is we don't have a breed identity. Y'all are here in the interview. I tried to get that across to Bashar, but y'all know Mr. ABKC over there, he's gonna lie all the time. But the AKC will not even talk to you if you can't have a breed identity. You know what I mean? If you can't start to show a consistency, we have to have shows where we go out there and you look at classes of 20 dogs, and it's a really tough decision because the quality is there. And I'm trying to prep, and Steph, you've been a part of this world. A lot of you have been a part of this world. When you go to these major shows, you don't look in the ring and see a dog that has an obvious high rear or a dog that has obvious high movement. This is like the most elementary level of dog breeding and dog showing. When you go to their shows, it's not even a thought process to look and say, oh yeah, well, we're going to eliminate him because his rear is higher. We're going to eliminate him because he got bad feet. That's not even expected to touch the ring. We are getting down to the finer points of the dogs. We are not in here to be running around and looking for, obvious flaws. That's how far away we are from graduation. And somebody on the previous live had brought up about when I was in Colombia, and I always say that was the toughest show to judge, but that's how we have to get all of our shows. There has to be an expectation in our community to where you're at home and you look at Snoopy and Snoopy's got a high rear and you be like, nah, I ain't gonna put that in there. He ain't gonna win at the TBKC. This ain't a show dog. We have to change the community mentality of that. If you see your dog and you know what I mean, and his, his foot is to the left and the other one is to the right, you know what I mean? We have to have an objective in our community that we understand this dog is not going to win. I'm not going to put this in the ring. This is not a show dog. If it's not a nice level top line, what's going on, Vendetta line? Happy holidays, my brother. Getting it together. But we have to get to a point to where we're not just in here saying who's the best of the worst, but we have to start bringing dogs to the table, and I guarantee you, it will take less mass. You're not gonna right now. Most of the dogs who have tons of mass would not win a confirmation show. They just wouldn't. And literally, if you bringing in these dogs with tons and tons of mass, I have seen very, very few that could win a confirmation show. I don't want to, and I'm not the senior judge, but as one of the judges, a judge for the IBKC, and I'm also a judge for the WBA. In my show ring, I want to look for the dog, and sometimes I might piss you people off. And I did shoot my brother Memo Loke a message today, and I told him I will be making myself available for shows this year. I will be going to South Africa and wherever else he wants to send me. I will be with my good brother Oscar Gomez, as he told me that they love me down there in South and Central America. So I definitely will be coming and eating good and getting to meet all you beautiful people that I haven't met. But the one thing that I tell you is that I want to focus on, and I want to focus on very, very strongly, is setting a new tone in the ring. We have to. Oh, I would love to get to Australia. No, somebody invited me to Australia. That was like 2 years ago, and I was going through all this mess. I would love to get to Australia. You know what I mean? Whew, beautiful. I just see the pictures of Australia and I say, Lord, to live there got to be something beautiful. But Europe, you know, Europe, Australia, South Africa, I'm going to be doing a lot of traveling. Passport's going to get a lot of stamps, and I look forward to meeting people. But my mission, and I'm not, you know, going to be shy about this. I want to become known as one of the hardest judges in the game. I want to become known as that dude that when you see me coming, you like, I got to step my game up. You know, I got to step my game up. You know, I got to step my game up because I feel like I owe it to the game to do that. Y'all don't understand, man. I've been so blessed, and y'all gonna keep hearing me talk about being blessed because y'all don't really know all of the blessings. But the way that God is putting it on my back right now, I love it. You know what I mean? Like even that woman, Steph, right there, to have Steph, and me and Steph is getting closer and closer. And I know she, you know, it feel good to have a sister. 100. It feel good to have Norreal bring his crazy ass back around and sending me messages and motivating and showing love. It feel good to have my boy Ruben Cortez. You know what I mean? I got Floyd over here. I got to stay on his back. I got Michael Bailey checking on me every morning. I got my man Chris Braden, me and Merle on that phone. I could go on for days just on people who are showing me love consistently, like over and over again, all of y'all, and I mean that, you know what I mean? It's great to know every time I go live that, you know, I'm gonna see a check-in with all these UK flags or the Canada flags, you know what I'm saying? Katrina, I see you, you know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing. And there's so much going on to where I'm telling y'all, like in this community, the guy who really made the name American Bully stays on my phone line. Literally going out of his way to call around the community and pull everything from pull every rock, you know, up and find what's under this rock, what's under that rock. Let's remake this breed. You got people who are working behind the scenes that are working their way through me to try to get this community back. It's a lot of people, no matter what lies they tell you or whatever the case, there are a lot of people in this community who want to see this thing go in the craziest direction that we could have imagined, and that's up. You know what I mean? We got people who are strictly about this breed and are trying to see this breed compete at a high level. And it's great because, and like I said, everything is in God's time, but it seems like it's all coming together at the right time right now. You know, and I'm just being honest with y'all. A lot of these people will not make the journey. You know, and we don't need them. That's one of the greatest things, man. How could I forget my brother Justice? You know what I mean? But it's one of the greatest things about it is to have this type of enthusiasm. You know what I mean? Justice is training the dogs. He's a trainer. You know, him and his wife love the hell out of the dogs too, man. I could go on and on. I got my Ohio brother over there with dogs stacking off. I mean, man, come on, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, they gonna kill Bashar. Y'all heard it. Y'all heard that. He said they told him if he saw one more dog in China, they gonna kill him. See, we need to separate ourselves from that kind of bullshit. But you know, we need a community to where we can get major sponsors to come in. Yes, I have been in touch with Victor. IBKC is already under Victor, and it looks like that's where we might be headed to. But you know, I've got an alcohol sponsor. I can't even talk about them right now, but it's very good shit. It's very good shit, and they're down to sponsor, come out for the broadcast and different things. You know what I mean? It's a great situation that we're in as a community right now. And the main thing is that I want to follow through on what I'm promising them, and what I'm promising them is a community that pushes healthy dogs. When I start talking about, she said, I was just talking about you, Katrina. I was just talking about how much I love you, and you wouldn't even hear. Just like a woman, you profess your love, and they ain't even around. But anyway, I tell you, all of these places are like, man, when you are about the right thing, so many people will come out the woodworks. You know, I've got possibly a professional sports franchise that's going to do something with us, and that's a little bit down the road. But you know, we are making the right friends with just ideas and promises. Now it's just time to fulfill those promises. People are really tired of seeing these dogs the way that we've seen them. People are tired of seeing our community the way that they have seen it. People are tired of the attitude in that representation. That, you know what I mean, like I told you, you know, it was like a rope-a-dope type thing. It wasn't what I said that hurt all of their causes. It's what they said. I never, you know what I mean? I always remember Muhammad Ali talking about how, you know what I mean, he didn't even have to knock George Foreman out. You know what I mean? Like, George Foreman had punched himself into such a bad position that when Ali hit him, you know what I mean? If y'all ever watched that, Ali hit him and it was like, boop. And it was another punch there that he could have hit him with, but he held that one because he knew it was over. I think we right at that point now. You know, and I'm seeing all of this, and the community is speaking. You know what I mean? When a person goes out and they brag about breeding dogs with elongated palates and health issues and everything else, it doesn't matter what comes out their mouth. I mean, the fool even went as far as to try to take my alter ego, Rick James, talking about he was the real Rick James, and people was like, well, yeah, Rick, but what about them dogs that you breeding with that bad health? Well, what about these breathing issues? Why are you doing that, Rick? You know, since you want to be Rick. You know what I'm saying? When Bashar started talking about it's a business, it's a business. You know what I mean? It's a business. I literally told him, I said, you don't care about dogs. You said you put up a video and you said you don't care about dogs. It's about the money. Y'all see in the interview, this fool literally sat there and explained for like a strong 5 to 10 minutes. Oh, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Only to say exactly what I said he said. But the community sees that. The outside people see that. You know what I mean? They see that us here, that when we get on them people's ass, when we've gotten on the exotic community and this and that and the other, we're doing the right thing. And I just want to tell y'all this. I only got about 15 minutes, but I do want to tell y'all this. You know, with all the work that's being done, you know, this expensive, beautiful site that will be popping up here and all of that, I'm going to go by the old motto of what this breed was really, I mean, what the ABKC was started off as, is we will have an attorney. We will have a paid attorney, and I'm trying to find one of those situations to where it's one of those national organizations to where we can pay into it, and they have a national coalition of attorneys that we can lean on in different areas. But we will have an attorney. You know, that cocaine is a hell of a drug, but you know, we need attorneys. We need to start not only we need to not only start having our attorneys to deal with certain legal situations that are coming up in our community, but we also need, you know, some representatives and people to start going and talking to state representatives and start trying to get meetings with certain people. And you need a little bit of an influence to do that, and a large registry can do that. And that's why, as we build into that, we'll have people who try to get into these offices and prevent legislation, but talk to them about what we're trying to do. You know, trying to get a congressman or a senator to come and visit one of our shows and see how we're representing things and see what's right, because this is the part of the politics that actually does matter. You know what I'm saying? Having a veterinarian to do a podcast with us, different veterinarians on a regular basis, to talk about health issues and to ring the alarm bells and to raise the flags in a community where so many dogs suffer from not only the lack of knowledge, but also these health problems. This is going to be very, very important to us keeping our breed. Knowledge is power, and also being upfront about it. So we don't want, in 5 years, we don't want to be in a position to where we're talking about, oh, they just didn't know. No, we are going to put enough knowledge out here that it is no excuse for you not to know what your dog's broke down frame is doing, what your dog being too heavy is doing, what your dog's elongated palates are doing. We want to put enough information out here that you don't have an excuse anymore. And then at the same time, I would love to go ahead and bitch slap Dave Wilson, not physically, but with the information. And his time is coming. Trust me. I'm not lying. I'm not lying to y'all. I'm telling y'all. I plan on taking clips from his interviews, and I've already got somebody to do it. I plan on taking clips from his interviews and directly having veterinarians break down why the misinformation that Dave Wilson and the ABKC is giving people is so detrimental to a community. To tell someone that you want to continuously add mass, but you're not worried about the health of the dog. You would pick mass over confirmation. It is one of the biggest contradictions in dog health that you can actually ever say. Absolutely, James, and that's what we want to do. I want to tackle every avenue. It's going to be, I really do. Like, I don't care about profits, and I don't care. Look, like I told y'all, contrary to popular belief, I stay in a decent vehicle. You know what I mean? We live all right. You know what I mean? It's not a problem. We got other ways of getting money. But at the end of the day, you know what I mean? It boils down to, I've put my whole life into this breed. I put my whole life into dogs. We were literally laughing about, me with the baloney, me and my brother with the baloney. We used to run to the fence. I think I told y'all this. We would run to the fence and somebody feed the dog baloney, and you just keep on, you have a pack and you keep on slow giving it to them. And while they eating the baloney from you, the other person creep over the fence and steal their puppies or steal a puppy. That we was doing that shit since we was 7 and 8 years old, stealing folks' puppies. I literally almost died. Literally, and this is a true story. I literally almost died messing with dogs. I was 8 years old, about the same age as Poop is now. And I built I'll never forget it, 1212 Eldon Circle, right there, Southside Projects. And it was these woods right behind the house. And me and my brother had went into these woods and we built a dog house. And we we built a cool little dog house, and we tied the puppies up back there, right? And it was cool, we got some little supplies, the hood, you know how the hood is, the hood will look out for you. So they gave us some cool little supplies. We built this thing to trap the dogs back there. They had a house. We was giving them food and water. And I'm allergic to a lot of shit. You just put it that way. Well, I almost turned into my girl because I did something wrong and I bothered a hornet's nest. And it didn't turn out well, just put it that way. Y'all remember when Tommy Hearns whooped Martin Lawrence's ass? That's how I looked. You know what I mean? I'm literally running up. I'm telling y'all, I got a somewhat photographic memory. I can remember, the furthest I can remember back is I was literally like Dooney's age, about 2 years old. I can remember that. Yeah, I could remember, like, it always trips my grandma out because my step grandfather, you know what I'm saying, he passed away when I was about 4 years old. And she was like, "You remember Jimmy?" And I told her what kind of car Jimmy drive and all kind of shit, the color of it and everything. She was like, "Your memory is stupid," but I remember this shit. But I had on the tracksuit, like the Run DMC tracksuit. It was blue and white, Dodger blue with the white. I ran up out of that motherfucker, man. Man, they was all over me, man. And of course I can laugh now, but at that time, it was very, very serious because with me being allergic to them, my my shit was shutting down. And luckily, especially with it being the projects, it was a fire station that I would say was probably only about maybe 200 or 300 yards. You had to get to the end of the block. They went to the fire station, and the fire station, the people there had the stuff that was needed to get my shit back open and get me to the hospital. But pretty much, if I would have probably been staying in a different neighborhood, I would have been dead at that point. And that was my dog career. That's how the beginning of my dog career started, stealing fucking dogs and getting stung up by hornets. So the passion has always been there. And I just thought that was a crazy story. Me and Granny was talking about that the other day. But I've always loved dogs. And man, in the next 10 years, I'll be 50-ish, you know what I mean? A little over 50. And I really don't plan on breeding a lot more after that point. The boys will probably be doing their breeding thing. I plan on trying to finish out what is the Hall of Fame line or whatever the case may be. And I just want to live the rest of my life, what I'm saying, being an advocate for not just the American Bully or the Pit Bull, but all breeds that get a bad reputation. You know what I mean? And also combating those who are using and abusing our dogs. To just for their profit and not caring about the future of their dogs. It's very, very important to me. It's like very, very important. I don't care too much about how much money anybody makes or anything like that. Like I said, we do good. My family will be all right. We'll keep on traveling and doing what we do without, what I'm saying, without stomping on the neck of a community and killing off dogs. But the thing I love about most everybody who comes on this page is that people who come on this page really, really, really love dogs. And this is where my passion is. You know what I mean? I want to see this community do well. I really do. The greatest moment to me, and I'll probably be old as hell, and I'll probably sit there and really feel good, about it. Is that, yeah, you want to pass it on to your kids. Brian, and my kids have a great passion for it, so it's a beautiful thing. But you want to get to a point, you know what I mean, to where I know I'll be sitting back and I just want to see that the American Bully really hit a point of respectability where who knows, I might not even live long enough to see the AKC, really take it on. But just to have it in that name of respectability worldwide, and maybe the TBKC will be the AKC for bullies, but it's just going to be a beautiful thing, man. So many people I feel like have been robbed in this American Bully experience, because you have half of a community who really worked their asses off and wanted to see this thing done the right way, and then it got into the wrong hands, and the wrong hands supported the part of the community who didn't really care about the dogs as much as they cared about money and self. And I really look forward to seeing this thing come together in that fashion. If we can get to that point, that, oh yeah, the lower court, Mandela has a daughter that won over there in the AKC. Yeah. Yeah, Mandela is one of the only dogs. I think he might be the only dog to have a champion in every registry that has anything to do with a bully, possibly. You know what I mean? And that includes the AKC. Mandela did his thing. That actually was produced by Brian from BBB Kennels, a good brother up there. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna do weight pool. We're gonna do lure coursing. It all takes time. We also, like I say, the plans that we have for this thing is just absolutely crazy. But we also want to start a national certified program to actually get dogs, certification as service dogs. Some of y'all are just buying vests, and you shouldn't just be buying vests, throwing them on your dogs. And I understand you can have a companion, you can have whatever. I know a lot of people like to do it just to bring their dogs on the plane and shit like that. But the truth of the matter is that, you know what I mean, we want to have something that's validated to where we can set up a network of trainers and different people that can actually verify that your dog is legitimate, and make it a lot easier, because it's starting to be some rumblings about that, because there's been several people who claim to have service dogs, and the damn dog attacked somebody in a restaurant or something like that, so it was obvious that their service dog didn't have proper training. And that's another thing we don't need in our community. We don't need the attack of the killer service dogs and all that good shit, man. And I've talked my ass off today. We've had the sound go out. We've had a lot of things. But Friday morning's live will be interesting, because y'all are going to have to bear with me. And the reason I say y'all going to have to bear with me is because I'm going to be on the road, and I'm probably going to be driving. And I've got this cool little thing, and this cool little thing is going to be hanging on the windshield while I'm driving. and it's going to be looking at me, and I might not be looking at the camera as much, so I won't know what the hell y'all saying a lot of times as I have to, try. But we're going to do it. I'm committed to doing it. And Friday morning, we talked a little bit about the Frenchie today. You know what I mean? Friday morning is going to be a different type of show. We're going to talk about the beast in the registry. We're going to talk about tenacity. We're going to talk about the Caucasian. We're going to talk about the Fila. We're going to talk about the Poodle. Hey, we're going to talk about the German Shepherd. We're going to talk about the Rottie. We're going to talk about the dogs that most of the bully community are not used to being around, but you will be seeing show up at TBKC shows. We're going to talk about how possibly some of the XLs especially can get into some of these, get into some of these working dog categories. And, we're here to work. We're pushing health. We're pushing confirmation. We're pushing purpose. So we've got to talk about some of the other dogs. And it's going to be funny to talk about the temperament of some of these dogs. I know some people are going to be like, what in the hell? Yeah, some of these dogs are serious dogs. And yes, we are adding the Tibetan Mastiff also to the roster. And our judges are going to have special training to deal with some of these guys. It's going to be special precautions. Also in that category is the real Pit Bull Terrier, which I think Steph can tell y'all. And we had a couple real Pit Bulls at the show in Rhode Island, and it was amazing. It was amazing just to see the difference between those dogs and the way that they have to be judged. And we're not just bragging about how tenacious these dogs are or those things, but we want to sort of be, it's an educational process to understand the different mentalities of these dogs, and maybe possibly to stop some of these idiots from wanting to mix some of these dogs with the bullies and think that there's no consequence. So with all that being said, Friday morning, I'll be on the road. I look forward. Yeah, we're going to talk about the presser. We got to talk about the presser. We got to talk about the Corso. You know what I'm saying? We got to talk about the whole family of dogs, and that'll be fun because that tests my knowledge some. I've been studying up on all of them. I've dealt with some of them. But like the origins of some of the dogs, some of the purposes they've been used for. It'll be interesting, a different talk that doesn't have to deal with the American bully for once, you know what I mean? But I'm sure the bully will get worked in there. And yes, James, I look forward to seeing some of the American bullies do some work. But as I always tell y'all, this is a rough time of the year, man. Rough time of the year. We talked about this at the beginning of the show. Look, man. Reach out to your people. You don't have to be buying them a Christmas gift. You don't have to do all of that. But make sure that you let your people know that that you love them. You know what I mean? Let them know that they got somebody. You never know. A lot of people are suffering in silence, and they smile, but they're in pain. And, come on, man. Show some love. Now, if you're going to eat, don't be going and eating that damn Burger King. They on their way out of business. If you're going to drink, don't be drinking that Cisco like I be drinking. Get you some good shit, you know what I'm saying? Get you some Ciroc or something. If you're going to smoke, don't be smoking that shit that Floyd over there is smoking. Floyd growing like I had to get Floyd. Don't be over there with that brown sticks and seeds shit. You got to get you some of that good shit. Moon rocks. Y'all know I always say moon rocks. Blueberry, strawberry. You got to get something. Get the old school hydro. But you got to get you something good to smoke on. And if you're going to do that thing that me and Rihanna be doing to make that beautiful baby that I don't know why she keep telling these people that baby ain't mine. That baby look just like me. Just got a big forehead like her. But anyway, you better do that well, or he or she might leave your ass. Happy holidays to all of y'all. Y'all eat good. Y'all do all them things very, very good. And nothing else, man. Smile and understand you made it through another year no matter what your struggles is. God got a plan for you. Enjoy this time. Don't be stressed about gifts and all this other shit. Just enjoy this time. Enjoy your people. Enjoy your family. Enjoy the moment, because this is the only moment that you have. No need to worry about nothing else. Until next time, y'all. God bless y'all. Much love. Peace.